Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Disney Cruise Line Show, a DIS Unlimited podcast. I am the captain of this cruise through conversation. My name is Rhino, and joining me today are my co-captains, Dreams Unlimited travel agent Elaine Edwards.
Hi, friends.
We've got Dreams Unlimited travel agent Chris Vorbeck.
Yo-ho.
And our theme park correspondent, Chloe Ferreira.
Ahoy.
Hello. I don't know what prompted me to go into that voice, but here we are. I just want to remind everybody that this and everything that we do here is brought to you by Dreams Unlimited Travel. They are experts at helping you plan the perfect vacation. And when you book with them, it helps support the channel and all the content that we produce here. And it costs you nothing extra on your trip. And you can receive up to a $1,000 shipboard credit as well as a cruise gift basket for any cruise that you book through Dreams Unlimited Travel. Not just Disney Cruise Line. That's right. Holy ship. What a deal. Yeah, I'd said it. I don't care.
That's a good one.
I'm all about the puns here. So somebody watching back some of our old cruise shows was like, Rhino, you don't have to preface that you're not an expert on cruising, but I feel like it's important. I feel like the angle that I like to come through here is that I'm here with these people that are we range from novice, myself, to experts, which are all of you staring back at me right now. And you've done cruising, and I think everybody here brings a really nice and unique perspective that can help us with information. Mm-hmm. And I like to break down those barriers to cruising because I do feel like sometimes, the hardest thing to do is just like actually go through with it. Like I have that sort of travel anxiety. So I've been enjoying having this conversation. I think our last batch of shows was a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to what today brings, because today we're going to be talking all about some Disney Cruise Line news updates for fall 2024, right? So
I think it's also great, Rhino, that you bring some of the questions that, like, I'm a Pearl, so I some of the things that I don't often think about, you ask those questions like, oh yeah, that's important. So I think that's that's good for our conversations.
Well, and I think it's great to have travel agents in here too, because I think sometimes there's that like fear where you're like, oh, I want to ask this question, but I don't want to get like caught up in the whole thing, right? Like I feel like sometimes when people think of travel agents or they think of like any sort of like getting involved in the business, it's like if no one here has ever been in a Target or a Walmart or a Publix and they're selling like the new cell service and you say hi by accident to the person, you're like, well, now here I am with three
don't
new
ever make
cell phone
eye
lines.
contact.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's the thing.
Your way.
I do, I know it's awful, but I do lately is I just go, I point at my ears, and I whatever they think that means, that's up to them. So, well, let's get into it. We've got some news stories, some that are important. In my notes here, I wrote the word birth certificates. I didn't write who's going to read that one for us today. I thought it was you, Chloe. I thought it was you with the joke I made earlier, which we don't have to make on the air. Thank you. But Chloe, birth certificates. What, you heard about these? What are they?
I think they're important.
Are they?
I think so.
Not important enough for my mother to keep track of where mine was. So.
Oh, no. Well, I mean, if you're sailing anytime soon. So if you've used a copy of your birth certificate to board Disney Cruise Line in the past, you'll want to make sure that you have ideally a passport. Or if you are going the birth certificate route, Disney Cruise Line now requires you to have your original birth certificate or a legal copy of that original birth certificate. No more photocopies are allowed. So make sure that you have enough time before your next sailing to get that in order, because that's a pretty important one. You can't get on the boat without it.
And you can typically I find that you can get a birth certificate a little bit faster than a passport. However, I think something that's really important to remember when cruising, because I didn't know this till I did a Disney Cruise Line Alaska cruise a couple of years ago, because I thought, well, Alaska, that's the United States, right? Like, but no, the port is out of Vancouver. And I was like, and Elaine was with me on that cruise, and I was like, and she had to tell me about this whole process, because she was like, no, dummy, it's not an end-to-end, like, it's a closed loop, but it's a closed loop through Canada, not through the United States. And I was like, and I was like, and that means that she was like, well, you need a passport to get to Canada. And I was like, well, mine expired in 2020, and I didn't think we were going anywhere for a while. So,
Rhino learned that day that you can get a passport within a week's time. It will cost you $800, but you can do it.
I was going to say, it was a small fortune.
It's literally $800. There are services that will go to Washington, D.C. and stand in line for you with your stuff, and we'll renew it on the spot. So.
And you can now renew your passport online. You don't have to go to the post office and da-da-da-da-da. You can do it online. So it's much easier. Have a passport. I mean, we're travel agents, so we see the worst things that happen, but there are stories I haven't experienced on Disney Cruise Line, but other cruise lines where the ship ran aground. And so they had to get people home. And if you don't have your passport, it's just a much bigger hassle.
Yeah.
So it's much easier to have your passport. Go and get a passport would be the easiest thing. The other thing that we hear all the time is that people come in with the hospital birth certificate that have the little feet on them. That's not a birth certificate.
Oh, wow.
You need the legal birth certificate. It'll have the embossed stamp on it. That's what you need. Have it in hand, not a copy on your phone. Have it in hand. Just go and get your passport.
Yeah.
Be done with it.
I think if you're listening to this right now and you're traveling at all, I think it's not that expensive to get the passport that has the embossment on it, and also they're not as pretty as you think they're going to be. Mine's on like a typed out sheet of paper that I feel like some lady in a dark room did an old fashioned typewriter and then stamped it in the thing. But here it is what it is. But I have one now, and I think also with a passport, I would encourage you to do this. They last for 10 years, and then that renewal process is easier than actually getting it. So, if you're listening to this, even if you're like, oh, I'm not going to have travel on the books, do it when you don't have the travel on the books. It's going to help with that anxiety a lot, I think. So,
kids for under, I believe it's 18, it only lasts for 5 years.
Oh, okay.
Which is a little bit of a pain in the neck. But it's a little different, and you have to track. Also, I mean, there are all sorts of weird rules about. So I have a friend who was trying to go overseas, and his passport didn't go past 6 months. A lot of countries require it has to have 6 months length in it before it expires. And so he wasn't able to travel. He was going to Dubai, for goodness sakes. And he couldn't travel because he only had like 5 months left on his passport before. So renew it early and get a passport.
Yeah,
This
it'll
would
help
be
with
my 2 cents to folks.
help with that anxiety of traveling. Well, so
Correct.
my news update today is the all aboard time has changed from 4 p.m. to 3 p.m. Now, is that across the board? Like, is that I know about all aboard times. Like, I've been on a cruise. For those of you listening who may have not, and all aboard time is essentially like, get on the ship before this time, or you figuring out how to get home yourself.
So it's for the Magic and the Wish, officially, is what we heard. However, at any time it could change, and they could roll in the rest of the ships. If you check your cruise contract, it says all of those times. You can go online and log into your Disney Cruise Line account and see all of that. But just be safe. Don't get there at 3 o'clock. Just
Oh God, no! Yeah.
Yeah, don't miss the boat. Literally, I mean, like how horrible would that be? As you show up at 3:15 and to see the boat,
they're not going to wait for you.
They will not wait for you, and they will not let you on board.
Yeah.
So don't do it. Just these are things that you have control over. So
Yeah.
it's why we always suggest to people don't show up on the day of a cruise, because if your flight is delayed, come the day before. There's hotels around. Stay. If you use Disney Cruise Line transportation, you're going to definitely get there on time, and they will hold it for you if your Disney bus breaks down or something like. But don't, in a stressful world, don't have that kind of stress.
This doesn't mean that the first boarding times have bumped up any earlier,
No,
right?
they have not.
Okay.
They have not.
Okay, so this is just for embarkation day. I mean, like, we want more time on the ship, so this is fine.
Okay, that was my question, because I was like,
because you said get home. I'm like, no, they want to get on the ship. They want to
Right.
be on the boat.
oh,
now.
okay. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
No, you're fine.
I was thinking like Castaway. Well, they won't leave you
No.
there, but they.
Those are all different. You
Okay,
just check your itinerary.
That's what I thought. So that
Yeah.
made more sense to me. I'm sorry.
This is when you're originally getting on the
Embarkation
boat.
day only is
Correct.
what we are
Yeah,
saying this
at the
is
port.
for.
I'm guessing-
For all of your ports, the onboard time changes completely.
Yeah.
It is a different time every day depending upon your specific cruise's schedule and when
Yes.
you're visiting.
And sometimes they will change it even on the cruise. So listen to they will tell you on board what time the onboard time is. Pay attention to that. We've also seen videos of people running to their ship.
Oh, yeah.
Don't be those people. So
Yeah. Well, yeah. I was going to say, make sure you're checking to make sure you're on that ship's time too. Don't be going by wherever you're at's
Yes.
time. That's
I had a
important.
big problem. So last week I was actually in Alaska, and we had a big
Oh,
problem that
excuse me.
our cell phones were not converting
Yeah.
to ship time or the regular time, even though I had them like on sales signal. Like my cell phone would not keep up.
Oh gosh.
So we kept having to do some math to figure out what was ship time so that we did not miss the boat.
Hey, you know what's great is inside of that Dreams Unlimited Travel gift basket. If I remember correctly, I think they send you like a clip-on, like a watch or something like that. So don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure that I've done a cruise where in my Disney Cruise Line basket there was, and I was like, what do I need this wind-up watch for? And then it was explained to me, and now I'm like, okay, that seems pretty helpful. It's that stuff you don't think of, you don't you know.
If you get one of those, then put it on ship time and just attach it on your bag, and then you always know.
I always ask before I get off the ship. There's usually a sign that says what the all-on-board time is, and I ask the people as you're checking out, you have to give them your little key to the world card. What's the actual time? What time? And just to make sure that everyone's on the same page.
Well, Elaine, why don't you take us away? You've got something to do with final payment cancellation policies, huh?
Yes. So this is particularly going to matter for if you are sailing concierge on a cruise, that they have closed. They have made your final payment closer to your sail date, which is great because it gives you more time to pay it off, or if you're needing to change your sail date, something like that. However, well, first let me tell you, the final payment dates are now 90 days in advance for a 1 to 5 night sailing. How about that one night sailing? You ever been on a one night
Oh my
sailing?
goodness.
Yeah, what does that even do?
It
It's a
literally
slumber
says
party.
that, but and then 120 days out for 6 or more nights. Now, and you can check, those have all updated, like that's effective immediately as far as what your final payment date is. However, if you are sailing concierge and you want to take advantage of the concierge benefits of being able to send an email 130 days out to the concierge host and say, I want to book this cabana and this spa time and these excursions, you have to be paid in full. So this doesn't really change a lot unless you are not planning on booking any cruise activities or excursions. You still need to be paid at least 130 days in advance. So it's kind of, I'm not sure why they did this, but it's kind of very tricky. And I don't think a lot of people are putting that through their head and realizing it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's good to know. I mean, I don't mean to keep, this isn't going to be the Rhino keeps bringing it back to Dreams Unlimited Travel show, but this is that other part where, the ins and out of like cruises, it's great to have a travel agent like you guys who can help remind and walk you through this process and be like, hey, I'm your like, you remind me of the little paper clip that used to come on the desktop, and you'd be like,
Was it actually like Clippy or something?
Yeah, something, right? Yeah. And like,
Go Clippy.
You guys are the Clippies of travel. Well, Chris, you've got some news for us about a play and dine test. I learned about this today. I had no idea what it was.
Before we get to that, can I just touch base on transfers?
Sure.
Because I didn't want to. It's a big.
I left that off. I'm so sorry.
It's because we've gotten a lot of calls. I'm sure Elaine has been dealing with it. I know Disney Cruise Line has been. This year, for the first time that I can remember, they didn't. Usually transfers, if you want to transfer from Orlando Airport to the port, you can do that basically when you book or certainly by the time you get flights. That was not true for 2025. So we have had a lot of calls of people saying, when can I book my transfers? Well, just really late last month, they made those available for 2025 for basically U.S. ports. So Port Canaveral, Fort Lauderdale down in Fort Lauderdale, and for Galveston. So those 3 ports, you can now get your transfers in 2025. They don't have them for European cruises yet, and they don't have them for Alaska cruises yet for next summer. I assume those will be coming very soon, but for most ports. At least for Port Canaveral, pricing is still the same, so just let us know. I usually tell folks we can book those up to, I believe it's a week out.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
So you're fine. I usually say let's book those as soon as you get your flights booked, because then we know where you're coming from, and if you're staying at a hotel and it allows it all to come together in one place. But those are now available. So people who are the hyper planners, and good for you guys, you can now no longer need the volume about you can get your transfers.
Perfect. Awesome. I scrolled down in my notes too far, so it went up, and I missed that. That was the first thing we were going to talk about today.
Do you also want me to talk about the planned dining?
I think
Awesome.
I'd like that too.
So folks who cruised pre-COVID may remember that you used to, if you were on second dining, it was like the Pied Piper. You kids would get fed early, and then the kids club folks would come up and they'd take your kids down to the kids club, so they wouldn't have to sit through dinner and be antsy and that disappeared in COVID. It may be coming back. We don't know. They've been doing a trial they did a trial on the Disney Fantasy for a couple weeks, which certainly gives us an indication that they're at least thinking about it. They know that it's been a very popular thing on Disney Cruise Line, and that people have liked that because they want to be able to enjoy their cocktail, enjoy a cup of coffee, whatever, around dinner without their kids grousing. And it was a really, really nice thing for Disney Cruise Line to do. So we know they're at least thinking about it. We will certainly keep you informed when it comes back, if it comes back, all told. But it's really a nice add to Disney Cruise Line. So Disney Cruise Line, bring it back. We'd like it. People like it. So everyone can cross our fingers.
Well,
when it really helps is when you cannot get on main dining. Let's say you booked your cruise not the day it came out, but you waited and you just booked a couple weeks, a couple months ahead of time, and you're on second dining, but you've got little kids, and so we can waitlist you for main, but if that doesn't come through and you are stuck on second dining, this gives you kind of that really, really great option to get the kids fed and they can go play.
Awesome. Yeah, whatever helps people with kids on a small space, that's A-okay with me. Somebody who doesn't have children, whatever you need to do to put them to sleep, perfect. So, I'm realizing it has, I don't remember the last time we actually recorded in person, but we haven't done a show since D23, been together. And so there was some really exciting information that came out of D23 that I think kind of took us a little by surprise.
Oh, yeah.
In relation to Disney Cruise Line. And that's this thing, the fleet is growing. Mm-hmm. Chloe, tell us about it.
Oh, yeah. Well, we'll get into the really big news in a second. I'm going to cover the new shows that are coming to the Disney Treasure and the Disney Destiny. Ooh. Yeah. So we're all excited about the Treasure, which set sail in December of this year, 2 short months away. And they had previously announced that A Tale of Moana stage show will be brought to life on the Treasure. But they did show new concept art of Te Ka, which is the darker side of Te Fiti. It is going to be a 15-foot tall puppet on stage, and it looks incredible. I cannot wait for this show. It looks, I'm so excited for this. The music is beautiful, and the imagery is. I feel like it's going to be a stunning show. I'm really excited. Then they announced, for all those Disney Cruise Line history buffs out there, if you remember Hercules the musical from the early to mid 2000s on the Magic and the Wonder, we're getting a Hercules stage show again on the Disney Destiny, which is super exciting because obviously that film and the story lends itself so well to stage. And they didn't release much. They just said there's a new show going to be based on Hercules. So we're once again getting a Hercules stage show on the Destiny next year. But then what took us all by surprise was when Josh D'Amaro basically did a mic drop and he said, I can do better than promise something. Promise you good news.
No.
What did he say?
He said, you want to this next one's going to be really, really cool something. And he was like,
in fact,
I can promise you, but you know what? I can do more than promise you. And then he just turned and walked away.
The stage, and then All for One is in the middle of the auditorium, and they break out with their I swear.
Yeah, and we're
like, okay, what is going on?
He booked them just for that joke, which is fantastic because not only is the I swear part such a good joke, but it goes right into this next thing.
Yeah, so then they announced that there's not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 new Disney Cruise Line ships coming to the fleet between the years 2027 and 2031, which is Oh, that's crazy to think about 2031.
Didn't appreciate him
Yeah.
saying the word 2031 out loud.
Yeah. Just think about
know.
where I'm going to be in life then. Like,
Never have I felt
all right.
older.
Is that a real year?
Yeah.
Like, I was like,
But you know,
what?
it's only like 5 years away.
I know.
It's essentially like the same distance now as it like when COVID started. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Oh,
I don't-
dear.
when does the Starship
very, like-
Enterprise launch?
Oh,
That's what I
dear.
want.
When does
Flying
time
cars. We keep
time
getting
travel?
promised flying cars.
Can I have teleportation and time travel already,
exactly.
please? Thank you. But yeah, we're going to have a total of 13 ships
Wow.
for the
Can you
Disney Cruise
believe
Line
it?
fleet, and
Wow.
that is amazing.
Well, there's speculation. There was like some speculation about that they might like retire some of the old ships, right? But they kind of were like,
Maybe.
no.
Yeah, no.
So-
I mean, they showed the image of 13 ships on the huge screen at the auditorium, so I don't think they're taking them away anytime soon.
Yeah.
Let's
I
hope
mean,
not anyway.
the ships are full. They
Right?
are full.
Yeah.
Like, if I am looking, I was looking for one the other day for a client for like February, and I'm like, you have a choice of like 2 rooms. Like,
Yeah.
it's sold out. These ships going into spring of next year are full. So I believe it. Like, that's where people are right now, is on the ships.
Yeah, well, it's crazy because this is going to lead right into the next thing that I want to talk about here because we haven't talked about it really yet, and that's about the fact that, okay, so we just had, what did we have? We had the Wish, now we have the Treasure, then we have the Destiny, and let's not forget that we also have the Disney
Adventure?
Adventure. Yes, which is the
Singapore.
So Disney announced a new agreement with the Oriental Land Company that will bring year-round Disney cruise vacations to Japan, which I am very excited about.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
So under a recently signed agreement, OLC will operate a Disney-branded cruise business in Japan, expected to begin by early 2029. Disney partnered with OLC over the last 40 years as they already own and operate the Tokyo Disney Resort, which I have never been, hopefully someday. But a new Disney cruise ship to be registered and based in Japan year-round will be constructed at the Meyer Wharf Shipyard, where they've done all the other ones, right? As a sister ship to the Disney Wish, it will feature many popular venues and experiences from the Wish with some modifications specially designed with Japanese guests in mind. It's expected to be approximately 140,000 gross tons and powered by liquefied natural gas with about 1,250 staterooms. This is in addition to the other ship, right?
Right. So that, just to make a separation, this is not the Adventure that will be in Japan.
Right.
The Adventure will be in Singapore. Yeah. So Adventure is going to be in Singapore. This ship that they're talking about going to Japan, that's going to be one of those future ships that he
Right.
announced.
One of the
that we don't have.
Oh, so that
a
is
name
one of
for.
the 4.
That's part of the
Okay.
future ships. And that's the big question is, okay, we're going to have 13 ships. Where are all these ships going to go? Now we know something's going to Japan.
Yeah.
Nice.
And it's going to be one of the new ships. They're not going to just like move the Magic over to Japan.
And the Singapore ship is the one that they had purchased from
Right.
that other cruise company.
Golden
That one, they're
Dream or something
yeah,
like
so that
Yeah.
one, it was made specifically for that market. It was abandoned before it actually ever launched. Beyond all crazy internet rumors, when people are like, oh, Disney's going to buy it. And we're like, yeah, right. They actually bought it. And now they're like retrofitting it and they're adding the Magic to it, but they're keeping the actual like layout of the ship and how it was built to stay with that market. So it's going to be very, very, very,
Very
different from the rest of the ships, even though it's going to look like a Disney ship, the way that it's going to be built, the staterooms, that kind of thing, it's going to be very different. It's intended specifically for that audience. It's not intended for us, even though I'm sure, I mean, I have clients that are like, I'm ready to go, and that are going to want to do it, but that's not their target audience.
But it's interesting. They say 2025, and we know we got all sorts of details on the Destiny, but we have very few details on
Yeah.
that ship. And we've gotten a couple of pictures of the atrium, and they're doing really great things. They're essentially creating lands on the different ship. I mean, this ship is huge. It's like 2 Wish-class ships. I mean, it's enormous. But it will be very interesting to see when they officially release details on it, because we don't have much yet, or frankly, a sale date for it yet. So, we
Yeah.
think that'll come soon.
Well, I'm excited for all these developments because I feel like one of the things I've said before is like for cruising, for me specifically, I did a Viking cruise that went out of Rome and then ended in Venice, and it did right around the boot, basically. And I thought this is the best way to see to experience some of these places a little bit further away. And this you get a bigger swath of experiences that way. You're like, my hotel's moving with me, and every night we were in a different city, and so it was it was a highlight. So then you can think, okay, if you like it enough, I'm going to come back and I'm going to plan to spend more time specifically, maybe in the places I missed, because we didn't really get to Milan. Or maybe I'm like, well, I loved Rome so much, I want to go back and spend time in Rome or Croatia or something like that. And I think that this is going to really open up a lot of that opportunity. The Tokyo one I'm looking forward to a lot specifically because I've always had my eye on going to Tokyo Disneyland because I feel their merch is unmatched. I feel
and
so
attractions.
awesome.
Not to mention everyone always speaks so highly of that park. I mean, come on, look at their animatronics and stuff. And but then Shanghai's got Zootopia, and I'm like, oh god. So there's a lot. I feel like when you're making that trek all the way to that side of the world, I feel like there's a lot of these really exciting Disney specific experiences that you can now take part on that will show you a little bit more of what these different areas of the world kind of have to offer, or not have to offer, but you can see a little bit more of the beauty that they have and stuff like that.
So the Tokyo ship, we don't have a name yet. We don't have any sale date or anything. It's very early. It is one of the 13. We'll see where it fits in the rundown. And then there are 3 ships that we know nothing about, and we don't even know whether they're going to be like the Disney Wish. Are they going to be that class of ship? Are they going to create another class of ships? In addition, we have the Magic class, we have the Dream class, we have the Wish class. Are they going to do the additional 3? Or are they going to be different from the other ones? We don't. None of that we know yet. We assume that we'll find out in the days ahead. So,
well, one thing we do know about is the Treasure launching later this year in December, and very excited for that. We've learned a little bit about where that's going to be christened. Chloe, take it away.
Oh, no. Was that me?
Yeah. No, I'm
Nope.
sorry.
I think it's
Chris. Chris, take it
It's
away.
okay, I'll go
God,
back.
I should not just put C's next to people's names on the computer. So,
we're both C's.
what's the point of notes? Who cares?
So yes, the Disney Treasure, which, as Chloe mentioned earlier, will set sail. Its inaugural cruise is actually Christmas week in 2024. But it's going to get its unveiling. We get to all officially, we've seen videos and stuff of it, but it's going to be christened. It's going to be christened up in New York City. Dates November 19th through 20th, 2024 at Pier 60. And it's funny, I was looking at the DIS groups, our boards, the DIS boards, and a lot of people in New York talking about where they need to station themselves in order to see the ship come into.
Nice.
You can actually track the Treasure now on it's tagged and it's doing sea trials, so you can actually track where it is. So I'm sure there will be lots of people in New York wanting to see that ship as it sails in and passes goes underneath the bridge, passes the Statue of Liberty, and sails into New York Harbor. It would be really, really cool. So they promise that there'll be some excitement, some items that we don't know about, but it will be very exciting.
Yeah, I mean, if I lived up that way, I'd put on my Sunday's best and grab my handkerchiefs and go, woohoo!
Yes, I know.
Wave
right?
at the ship as it went by. So we're coming to the end of the show here, but Elaine's going to take us out with one more thing, and Disney has told us a little bit about some new Halloween on the High Seas drinks. So if you're doing one of those cruises, when do those go through? It's the end of October, right?
So it usually starts the second week of September, and then it goes all the way through the end of October, and then they'll have like a 2-week break, and then that's when the Christmas maritime cruises will start. So Halloween cruises, if you have not been on one, they are very, very, very fun. It's very fun no matter if you're younger, if you're older, it doesn't matter. They have the whole ship decorated, and there will be a giant tree and there's this Halloween tree in the atrium, and it has a whole story behind it, and it's different on different ships. So they talk about that, and they tell the story, and it all lights up, so it makes really cool pictures. They have all kinds of shows. They have dance parties. You can go in costume. All of the characters are in their Halloween costumes. They do special things in the kids' clubs. They do trick-or-treat candy handing out,
Nightmare
that kind of
Before
stuff.
Christmas sing-along.
It's a lot of fun, and if you're somebody that likes dressing up on pirate night, if you
Like
go
you do?
on the 4-night cruises, so if you go on the 4-night Bahamian cruises on the Wish, you have pirate night and you have Halloween night, so you have 2 different dress-up nights. So it's a lot of fun. But coming to the news that we were told about is they have released for Halloween on the High Seas this year, they are going to have new themed drinks based on Agatha All Along.
Ooh.
Have you been watching that?
I have been watching it, and I'm excited to see where it goes, and I obviously listen to that down road all the time.
So yes, so if you're a fan of Marvel, you can get that Marvel Halloween crossover with this. So they have the Oob coconut
Ube.
latte.
Ube.
Okay, sorry. So we know that it's
Next
going to
we'll
be
get her to say
iced. We don't
Eleuthera.
know if you can get it hot or not, but it's kind of cool because it actually has like the logo on top of it. And then there is the Enchanted Purple Lager.
Ooh.
And there's a third one, but we don't have the information about it. So there's 3 drinks, but I only have information on 2 of them.
Well, that's
I
all
have
right.
pictures of 3. I don't have the name of the third one.
Here's the thing. I love the synergy of when things go from Disney Plus or the shows or whatever right into the. Disneyland does it best, I feel like. It's like the second anything comes out, Marvel or Pixar or whatever, they've got a character in the
on
park
it
that day.
immediately,
And you're
yeah.
just like, why? And then all their featured food. So I think it's cool that it's extending into the cruise line, especially with the theming of everything like that.
They've really been pulling a lot more Marvel into the cruise lines,
Yeah.
even past the Marvel Day at Sea, which are amazing cruises, but they're doing it, they're expanding it even more. So it's kind of cool.
Well, thank you, Elaine. Thank you, everybody. I think it's time to bring this ship to shore and say thank you to everyone for having this conversation with me. Thank you for everyone out there in the internet. If you are watching on YouTube, please hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We have lots of content here about Disney and Universal, if you can believe that. If you are listening to this, please rate and review the podcast wherever you listen. And don't forget about Dreams Unlimited Travel when booking that next vacation. Dreams Unlimited Travel for free. Sorry, I was trying to say the website and I went too fast. DreamsUnlimitedTravel.com for a free, no obligation quote today. That's right. You can say, how much does it cost?
It's
And
free.
they'll just be
How much
like,
does it cost?
hey, this is how much. And you'd be like, okay, thanks, bye. So that's why I always say it's no obligation. You can tiptoe. Put your little foot in the water, okay? You know you want to take a little vacation. So that's going to do it for us. Bon voyage, everybody.